Hi, welcome out to Unscheduled, the podcast about anything at any time. I'm your host, Zach, along with my co host.
It's me, Javi.
It's good to see you, Javi. Or I guess not in this case, it's good to more hear from you.
No worries. I get that all the time. A lot of people would prefer to hear me than see me, but
Aw, damn.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah,
Um,
but no, it's good to see you too.
yeah, I mean, we're still in another week of still with like our shutdown and everything, but things are slowly opening up, so who knows? Maybe we'll be recording in person sooner than we think.
That'd be
Um,
great.
yeah, but I have some interesting topics today. So, um, we were just talking about some stuff before we started recording the podcast about like quote unquote milestones of the video.
Hmm.
And I would say we hit our first channel milestone in a way yesterday or like the day before that. And so what happened was we had our first flagged comment, which to me
Huh.
was pretty funny. So, I was seeing that we were so like we get the alerts and stuff that like hey someone commented on your video and stuff yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And so when I was going to check out the comment, YouTube was actually giving me like this whole spiel on community guidelines and like oh you need to be responsible with this, things like this can't be said. And I was like, oh, I guess we got our first flag comment.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, so it was pretty funny to me. And then I wasn't able to see the full message, but I'm guessing like you made a joke in the last episode we recorded.
Hmm.
I can't even like it's so funny because I can't even remember everything we talk about in every episode now. You made a joke about some porn something, and then like when they repeated that, I guess because they repeated that joke in the comment section, YouTube's algorithm just flagged them and removed the comment.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think I just to go back to your point, I think that's the true mark of any successful YouTuber is when they actually start getting taken down by YouTube in a way. Uh, it's like the first foray into truly being a YouTuber, I
Oh my
think, is
god.
when you start to cause trouble because like you always see like YouTubers like post like videos about how they're getting demonetized and like how close they are to getting like 3 strikes or whatever it is to get kicked off the platform. But like they make like tens of those videos and they never like seem to leave the website. So it's
Yeah,
like
seriously though.
I
I mean,
mean,
in some weird ways, what other alternatives is there truly to YouTube? Like
yeah, I mean,
YouTube has
yeah,
held a very huge monopoly on, I would say, the online entertainment industry.
yeah, specifically video sharing. I mean, obviously, other platforms do exist like Vimeo, but I mean, Vimeo really, at least from what I can tell from my limited exposure to Vimeo, it's much more for like sort of like a professional sort of platform for like introducing projects and stuff like that. When you
Yeah, yeah.
specifically want to like share it with people within like, your shared interests and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
like YouTube is just like a free for all, really. I mean,
No, no,
like,
I get it. Trust me,
yeah.
seriously. The thing for me, like what I was thinking about was like obviously I would say Twitch is king for live streaming. Like
Oh yeah, for
that's
sure.
undisputed
Yeah.
because like all you can check out everything that's been using live stream and everything. And like Twitch is like dominating everyone. And this is that almost everyone has increased in like streaming because of the whole shutdown and everything.
Yeah.
But I would say like for like video on demand or VODs, there's no other place but YouTube in my head like that I can think of where you would go. Even like I guess the closest thing, and I say this very reluctantly, is like Facebook or Twitter.
Mm.
Yeah, and I say that very loosely too.
Yeah, Facebook is interesting because it really has become sort of a hub for like sharing, viral content in a way more than anything, especially videos. And I've seen a couple of videos about this actually on YouTube and just from my personal experience, but Facebook sort of seems to be like the hive of just posting like uncredited work that is like is going to generate
Yeah,
interaction.
yeah.
You
Don't
know,
don't don't even get me started on that. At this
yeah.
point, I take Facebook about as seriously as I take BuzzFeed.
Mm. Oh boy,
Yeah,
like
not BuzzFeed News. I will give BuzzFeed News credit. Like when it's BuzzFeed News, it's for the most part legitimate news. But
yeah, I was gonna say
Like BuzzFeed specifically, I hold Facebook and BuzzFeed in the same like standards, essentially.
yeah, I was gonna say BuzzFeed News is very reputable. They have good sources. I'd say they have some pretty good reporters. But from the entertainment spec, I think that's really can be said for a lot of, sort of publications that sort of pride themselves on like being like new age and sort of being primarily on a, online platform is that they have good sources and you can tell they have talented writers and they have a good, network. But when it comes down to like, editorials and, personal opinions, that's where it starts to show
Yeah,
the crack and the sort of
yeah, that's where
like
everything can kind of
yeah,
start falling apart. But
yeah,
enough about that. Really, like that's not a discussion. We could spend hours on that discussion between you and
yeah,
I. But
yeah.
whew, I don't not want to go through that right now.
Mm-mm.
No, but I actually had something else that happened to me just this morning that I was like that I have mixed feelings about. So, and this is very much a first world problem. I'm gonna say this right now, like just to put that out there. Um,
Okay.
so, um, I ordered a game recently off of Amazon, Xenoblade Chronicles. Like it was because they were running a deal of $10 off for pre-ordering it with them, and I was like, sure, I'd rather pay 50 than $60. So usually, with Amazon, they get it to you like the day of release, and then like you get your game and you play it. But for me, what they told me was like, hey, it's gonna come a couple days later. I was like, it's fine, I understand because Amazon's still delaying shipping with the whole virus and everything.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to me, and I feel like I'm gonna get way more backstory than the actual result of what this is. So my friend had also pre-ordered the game, but they got their game yesterday. For me, I
Hmm.
was told I was gonna get my game not until like June 2nd. I was like, okay, I guess I can wait a few days. Like again, I wasn't really angry about it or anything. But then this morning I go out to my front door because I went to go check some stuff and there's the package right there. I didn't get any notification the package was here. I didn't get any heads up, like whoever dropped it off literally just dropped it off at the door and left. And so I was happy to get the game earlier than projected, but I was annoyed with, and this isn't Amazon as a company. I guess I was more annoyed with the delivery guy
Yeah.
and the lack of notification because like how porch pirates and everything happen,
Yeah, that's
and
true actually. Yeah.
I was like that could have been easily $50 lost right there, and I was just like, you couldn't have at least rung the doorbell. So again, I had a great surprise of the game being early, but then I found myself annoyed for like 5 minutes on like the the alerts or nothing being told for me from Amazon. And so it's
Yeah.
like this is again a very much a first world problem, like by all definitions and means. But to me, I just like it was really funny thinking about it later. To me, it's like really like just why? And then I had a bunch of flashbacks to me like I work back at our school. I worked as a desk job.
Yeah.
So for some of the places when Amazon would deliver, they wouldn't deliver directly to the desk at times. Like at times, when the temp, I guess they're like temp hires. They're kind of like the Uber driver equivalent for Amazon. I don't know exactly what to call them.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So what they would do is they drive up and they just hand the package to some random student and be like, hey, can you go deliver it to this place, and then just drive off.
Wow.
But the thing is, like, as protocol per the desks and stuff, it's like we can't take packages directly from people. They have to be from like the actual mail services, so like the Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, etc. All that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how a couple packages would get lost, and that's what happened. Like I have another story regarding Amazon in my own personal life, but that's a whole different story for a different time. But yeah, so I kind of had flashbacks to that too, and I feel like that it's is why I was just like definitely annoyed as well when I didn't get any notification on the package.
I feel you, man. It's funny because like when I was hearing your story, I thought to myself like, oh, you know, the delivery driver's trying to give you like a Christmas in July moment. He was like,
Yeah, no, and again, I felt happy. Like I was so psyched that my game had arrived early.
yeah. But at the same time, like without the notification, you very easily like could have just not seen it. Like if you had not gone outside and someone else had come by and they had like the intent to like take something, like you might not have gotten your game at all. It would have
Yeah,
been like a whole
yeah.
process. Yeah.
And I don't think Amazon, as far as I've seen or the stories I've heard, Amazon does not refund you on
Really?
some of the like when people steal it off your porch and stuff. Like I
Wow.
haven't seen that Amazon refunds you or gives you compensation for it. So I was just like, well, this is a thing now. So I don't know. It was just like my moment of. I almost want to give it like quote unquote a moment of entitledness, but then like I let it go
Yeah,
pretty soon. Like it was just again very much a first world problem.
I feel you, man.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just I mean don't I have issues with Amazon overall, like just as a piece together.
Hmm.
But like at times I will order from them because sometimes it's just I get good deals, or sometimes they're the only way I can actually get something I'm ordering. So yeah, it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Have you gotten started on Xenoblade yet?
No, no. So I literally just got it like maybe I would say 2 hours before this recording, if even.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. So I have another game I'm gonna finish because that was another thing I was gonna bring up. So I've been meaning to finish Devil May Cry 5.
Hmm.
It's just been a personal game for me to play and finish. I'm not streaming it or anything like I usually do. But so what I was doing was uh, I was playing Devil May Cry 5, and I've been playing all week. But every time I get started on playing Devil May Cry this week, like every single day without fail, there would be some form of distraction that I would play like an hour of the game and then spend the rest of the night doing something else. Like I would say
Wow.
the only exception to that would probably be Thursday night because of D&D that I play.
Hmm.
So like Monday, I was playing and then I got a phone call from someone, and so I ended up talking the rest of the night with them, and just
Wow.
completely I like my game was on pause there because I was like I can't play and talk on my phone at the same time.
Mhm.
And then I also had Tuesday. What happened was I was playing and then I got an alert on my computer about some stuff, so I ended up running some diagnostics and completely forgetting about Devil May Cry.
Mhm.
Wednesday, Wednesday I was playing and then I had to go do some stuff around my house, like help around with a couple things. And once again, like the game was there, it was paused, and then I never went back to it. So like when I
Jeez.
came back ready, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's right. I had this on and I was playing." Cuz I came back like 3 hours later after pausing it, and then I was like, it's just too late and it's not worth playing, so I just turned it off.
Oh wow.
Thursday I had D&D, so I couldn't do any of that. And then Friday I ended up so Friday I kind of shot myself in the foot. Um so Friday I was playing the game and then I was texting one of our friends, and I was just like, "Oh, and you know what? I haven't talked to them in a while. Let me catch up with them." So I texted them, and I ended up calling them, and it was like 10:15 when we started, I think.
Mhm.
And then I had paused the game because again I was like I can't play and be on the phone at the same time. Like I could do a Discord call and play at the same time, but I can't be on the phone. Like I think it's just physically the phone.
Yeah.
So I ended up calling them and we ended up catching up. And I had left the game paused, and then by the time we're done with our call, I realized it was like we had been on the call for almost 3 hours. Like it was like 1 a.m. when we finished,
Wow.
and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Once again, I start this game and I don't get anywhere with it.
Yeah, I think it's the universe just trying to tell you to not play the game. Honestly, I
And
feel
it's
like
a
there's some.
good game too. Like I'm loving playing every minute of it.
Yeah, from what I heard, Devil May Cry is like really over the top, isn't it? It's like really
Oh yeah,
like
oh yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very difficult game, and like in this, I'm not even playing in hard mode. So
Uh-huh.
once hard mode, I unlock hard mode, I'm gonna be very excited to play it.
Wow. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
but you had something.
No, I was just gonna say, like, what's your experience been so far playing Devil May Cry? Except, apart from the obvious interruptions, obviously.
It is way better than I anticipated it to be. So, at first I was a little annoyed because and I guess spoilers for a game that's like what, a year old now.
Yeah.
You don't start off playing as Dante, who's usually the protagonist from all the Devil May Cry games. You start playing off as another character named Nero. But
Mhm.
so you actually pick up Nero. The mechanics are a little stiffer, I would say, for Nero than I'm used to in a Devil May Cry game, but it's still pretty good. But then later you find out you play as Dante, so then I was fairly happy with that. And there are a lot of secrets and pieces you can put together and find, and so I was pretty happy overall getting all that stuff. So for the most part, like it wasn't so bad. Like the game itself, the graphics are beautiful. The story is pretty good, like per a Devil May Cry story.
Sure.
And then the gameplay is phenomenal. It's such good gameplay, and then the music in the background to the game just puts the intensity up so much higher.
Wow. It's funny that you mentioned Dante because I've been getting into Shin Megami Tensei because of Persona and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So I was actually watching this one YouTuber, and he specifically covers SMT, and he was doing like a challenge run of Nocturne, which is SMT3,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's funny because in the middle, just like in the middle of the video, Dante just shows up for no goddamn reason. Like
Oh,
he's
yeah, yeah,
actually,
yeah.
yeah, like he's a character apparently in the game. Like when they released it here, they were like, we'll add like a bunch of extra stuff, and like also like Dante is a boss for some reason in the game. Like I'm like what? And
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
like hearing you talk about that just reminded me, and like it's so funny, like because like he's just there because he's a crossover. He has nothing to do with the story as far as I'm concerned. He's just like an optional boss. And I'm like, okay,
So, yeah, I actually know about this from from one of my friends who is a huge SMT fan, and like he's followed almost all the games, I would say, from SMT, Persona, and like the other spin-off, which is another
yeah,
thing. I don't know what it is, but so he actually showed me the other day because I was talking to him about Devil May Cry because he's also a Devil May Cry fan, or more specifically, he's a Dante fan.
mm,
And he showed me when Dante was like, I guess, like you said, an optional boss fight within one of the SMT games. So
interesting.
is he just a boss fight, or is he like a playable character too?
No, he's actually I actually don't know. I don't want to misrepresent the facts, but I think he's just a boss as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, okay, that would
Yeah,
make sense. That would make a lot more sense to me in a crossover game.
absolutely. No, it's not even a crossover game. It's literally like within the main game, like that you fight him. It's like
Huh?
yeah, yeah.
That's really interesting. And let's see, when was that game released?
I think 2003. I can fact check that.
So that would be. Let me think. I think that would be Devil May Cry 2 would be coming out around that time. Let me also fact check that because it's always
Yeah.
better to check than like completely mislead.
Yeah, so in North America, it was released in 2004.
Okay, so then Devil May Cry. Let me see. I'm trying to remember here, but the overall games, I think 2 was around that same time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, from Capcom's release. So yeah, that would make sense then. But Capcom's like the master of crossovers, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Capcom has crossed over. Obviously, there's the marveling Capcom crossover fighting games, but
Yeah,
they've
that's right.
also they've now crossed over with I guess officially Nintendo because
Mhm.
they're in Smash, but they've also always crossed over with Nintendo because their biggest crossover right now was Capcom crossing over Project Cross Zone, which was Capcom, Sega, Bandai Namco, and Nintendo, I believe, who all did that. I feel like I might be forgetting one more person, but yeah, they all crossed over into two games because there was Project Cross Zone and Project Cross Zone 2. And
So Ban
no, go ahead.
so it's Bandai Namco, Capcom,
Sega.
Nintendo, and Sega.
Yeah.
That's pretty big, honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
uh,
I I bought both games and they were great plays. I don't think I ever finished Project Cross Zone 2 because I got stuck on the final boss fight, and there's just something like there's a specific way you have to beat like the final boss fight, and I just don't have my characters built that way. So,
so what's
eh.
Project Cross Zone about?
So it's essentially like in a weird way all the game universes from Sega, Capcom, Bandai Namco, and Nintendo, like they all kind of coexist. It's really weird how I explain it, but when you watch the or when you play the game, it just
Hmm.
seems kind of self-explanatory. So like for a lot of the martial artists within the so with a lot of the martial artists, they're in like our regular world, I guess is the best way to put it, and they just kind of all know of each other's existence. So Ryu from Street Fighter already knows about Jin from Tekken, and then so they also know about Heihachi, as well as from Sega's fighting game series that sadly no longer exist, Virtua Fighter. They also know about Jin and Ryu, and so they all kind of know each other. Like obviously they don't know each other in person until the game, but they all know of each other's existence, which is pretty interesting. And then Dante shows up in the game too, and he knows of like everyone from the demon world, which is a lot of Capcom characters actually. Now that I think about it, but there are also so like he also knows of people from like Resident Evil and like how the zombies from Resident Evil are different from characters of the underworld and stuff. And like I'm making it sound way more complex than it is, but when
Yeah.
you get to the actual game, it makes a lot more sense. So yeah, and then in the first game, there are some also original characters they introduced who kind of tie the whole piece together and have it make a lot more sense. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
no, go
I,
ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say like it's so interesting how like I'm assuming like most of these characters are in like the US and Japan and stuff like that. So it's so interesting because like realistically speaking, like since these guys are all in the same universe and they all kind of carry like a sense of weight and like heroism, like you'd assume they know about each other, like anyways. So I don't know, it's
Yeah,
just weird to me.
yeah.
Like,
So fun fact, I got introduced to one of my favorite series through that crossover game, and I'll let you take a guess at what it is. Which series I got introduced through that crossover.
it wasn't Street Fighter, was it?
No, 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 no. I've been a Street Fighter fan way longer than that.
Okay. Games you've played and that were in this series. So, okay, Mega Man? Maybe?
No, no. Again,
Oh,
Mega Man. I've been playing Mega Man since like I was 4 or 5.
oh wow, okay. Oh man. If you don't mind, I'll just go look
Yeah, go
just what
ahead.
character
Go ahead. Like as
in
soon
this.
as you see what games were in there, then you'll probably figure it out. To help give you a hint, it was Project Cross Zone 2, I believe,
Okay,
in which
two.
they show up.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm like this is a mystery, gang. Oh man.
Go
Okay.
ahead. No, take a little of your time, but I mean, it's like when you see it, you'll know it. Like that's all I can really tell you.
Okay. Uh, So it's from Project Cross Zone 2. There are a lot of games in this crossover.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think to me, it might have had the most characters in terms of crossovers before Smash Ultimate came out, I think. But I could totally be wrong. Like that, like I could totally be off base. But I know it had a lot of characters, like both as heroes and villains, and
Is it
playable.
is it Yakuza?
Yep. Yeah,
Wow.
that's how I got my actual like start to Yakuza.
Interesting.
Like I had no idea what Yakuza was before that until I saw Project Cross Zone, 2 in this case. So what ended up happening was is Kiryu and Majima, which are two main staple characters from the Yakuza series, were playable characters. And I just found Majima so ridiculously fun along with Kiryu that when I was like I started looking into some of the games that were from the game crossover, because I was like, I've never heard of some of these games. I
Yeah.
started checking out Yakuza, and then I started taking a look into it. And then another friend of mine, she was really into Yakuza, and she was just like, "Oh my gosh, this series is so good! You should get into it and try it out." So eventually, that's how I got into Yakuza 0, and I started reading up on the other Yakuza games, and now I'm playing through Yakuza Kiwami, and then Kiwami 2 will eventually be an endeavor once I buy that and pick that up.
Yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about crossover games is they are essentially like not so subtle like marketing for other games, really. And that's what's really good about like games like this and Smash Brothers too, because like I remember I saw Joker announced for, as the first DLC for Smash Ultimate, and I was like, okay, I like this character, I like playing with him. And I actually read up on Persona 5, and I was like, okay, I'll buy this. And then after I bought Persona 5, I bought, P4 and P3. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'll try out Shin Megami Tensei. And I got SMT4 for the 3DS. So, I mean, I think
Nice,
that's really,
nice.
yeah. So, like, I think that's really one of the main benefits from having all these games grouped together is just it introduces you to so much that you would maybe normally never play.
Yeah, and speaking of Smash Bros, like that's how I would say quite a few people got into Fire Emblem. Like,
Mm.
so one of my friends, who I've been talking with, she loves Fire Emblem to death. Like, swears by it upwards and downwards to where she's trying to collect like every possible Fire Emblem game. And
Wow.
I asked her, so how did you get into the series? Because I didn't get into Fire Emblem through Smash. I just knew about Fire Emblem and decided to pick up Awakening one day, but that's a different story. She said, so I was playing Smash 4, I think it was, and she loved Lucina, and so she ended up checking out Fire Emblem Awakening and then just completely fell in love with the series. And like she knows the games in and out, the entire stories, the whole like timeline for Fire Emblem, and then everything else about it. And I'm just like, whoa, jeez, slow down a sec here. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this series.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, and let's see. I don't think Smash has introduced me to any more games that I didn't already know about. But there,
Hmm.
it's still like I can get it how people have fallen in love with other series and have gotten to know it through Smash Bros. Like again, like you said, Joker was a huge piece in that. And then I wouldn't be surprised either if people also got into Dragon Quest because of Hero.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
just
pre-
oh no, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I'm pretty sure, like, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of these DLC, like, even in past like games, they usually came along with like announcements for like new games in the series those characters came from. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So like for example, Persona 5, they announced the Royal, I think, like, sorry, I'm pretty sure they announced the Royal around the time where they were starting to say that Smash. I think Joker was going to be in Smash, so I
Oh,
think that's
really?
yeah.
I thought it was because of another one. I think it was like P5 Scramble or something, which is like the
Oh,
crossover between all the like it's a spin-off game, I guess.
yeah, it's a spin-off. Yeah,
Yeah. Because I remember that being announced like a month later, so I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. But I wouldn't
yeah.
be surprised either if it was because of the Royal too.
I think I might have. I think you might be right there. I think it might have been Scramble actually, because
Okay.
Scramble is going to be released on the Switch, not just PS4.
Yeah, yeah. Because Scramble, I think, was like the one that's actually going to be on Switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty good. I'm trying to think of all the Smash characters, and that's a lot to go through right now, especially because we're gonna get even more.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I'm thinking about it, and yeah, none of them. I didn't know about. I would say some specific characters outside of Smash Bros, but I knew about their game series. So
Hmm.
that's been a little more interesting to look at.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I think, let me see. I'm trying to think here. No, I don't think there is. Yeah, all the characters I knew about, and then especially when so going back and kind of showing our age a bit. I say that as if we're like super old, but
Yeah.
back when Brawl was announced,
Hmm.
I lost my mind when they said Solid Snake was going to be part of the game because I'm a huge
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid fan. Like that, more than anything, that is my favorite game franchise.
Wow.
Yeah, but
I
yeah,
didn't think.
I lost my mind back in the day. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. Honestly, I remember being a dumb kid and not thinking too much about it back then, but I'm starting to realize how much of a big deal it is for like characters and like Sonic the Hedgehog and Metal Gear Solid to be in the same game. Like that's just insane, honestly. And like I can't think of like another franchise that could possibly bring like obviously I think Project Crosstone, just from looking at the list, they have a pretty like good list and like sort of diversity of characters, I would say.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like Smash really does like it's crazy just the range they have with the
Yeah.
characters,
I think
honestly.
the other thing about Smash is that it's just a game you can pick up at any time and play, whether you're by yourself or with friends. So a game like Project Cross Zone is more of something like you would have to you have to sit down and actually play the story. There's no multiplayer to it or anything. It's just more of like it's a self-contained, I would say, enjoyment to a person playing it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But Smash again, you can play by yourself, you can play with friends, you can play online, you can do whatever you want essentially with Smash.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, looking back, Smash is a massive like crossover game, and it's still the best seller crossover game ever. And looking at it as well, I was like, I'm looking back and I think I was watching a video. I don't remember what it was, but it was something about like I guess quote unquote Smash clones. And do you remember PlayStation All Stars?
Yeah, yeah.
I looked back at that and I'm like, wow, this game has not aged well at all.
H. Will How.
Like a lot of the characters were from the PS3 in that day, but it's like it was clearly a promo game to promote other games coming out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like it had some games that had already been established and pre-established, but looking
Hmm.
at it, I was like, it had a character named Raiden who is from the Metal Gear series, which again close to my heart, and he had his own spin-off game called Metal Gear Rising. But like, you know nothing about him going into the actual game, and then you can clearly see it's a promo for his game. Then you also
Oh wow.
had Dante, but not the Dante you and I are familiar with. You had the quote unquote edge lord Dante from the DMC remake. The
Oh,
God, I hate that game so much.
oh no.
It's just so bad, and I'm so glad that everyone like was just essentially knew not to play that game and threw it out the window. Because like I tried it and immediately returned it to like the next weekend after I bought it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was like, in my head, I was like, you know what? I will give it a chance.
Hmm.
I will give it a chance. Nope. I was like, nope. I just immediately returned it, deleted all data and save data I had for it because I was like, I do not need this in my life at all. And the
I've never
story
had a
was
game.
garbage, and the mechanics felt kind of clunky to me. So I was just like, nope, not gonna do this.
I've never had a game that was that bad. Like that I could like just not play it. Like usually, like even if it's bad, try to get through it. But like I don't think I've ever had a game where like it was so bad that I just couldn't get through it. Like that's crazy.
I think that's probably the only game I can think of where I've done that. Like solidly off the top of my head,
Hmm.
I don't think I've had any other games with that experience. Like I feel like I have, but no, nothing that comes to mind, really. Yeah, but how's it been with you in playing? Because I, speaking of Yakuza, actually going back to that, you also started it a little while back, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm actually only on chapter 3, but from my experience, it's been really fun. It's I wouldn't say, I mean, again, I've only started playing, but from what I can tell, the controls aren't that complicated, but that's kind of a good thing, honestly. It made it very easy for me to just jump in and play, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
Especially with, the different styles. I think there's Beast style, Rush style, and in Yakuza 0, I think the other one's called Brawler style, the blue
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, the three styles you get throughout the main game
Mhm.
are, like you said, Rush, Brawler, and Beast, and they all have their own special quirks and styles, and it's so good to see them.
Yeah, it's so fun to just like change through them and just like honestly just mess around with them. Obviously, there are some fights that require you to use one specifically. Like with the big with the big guys, I usually use Rush because that makes it easy to dodge and stuff like that, and like use quick punches and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but some fights, you need to use B style because you just need to mess stuff up.
Oh,
You
I
need to like
love B
tear
style.
yeah, you need to tear stuff up honestly with beast time.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean honestly, it's just fun and honestly, like you said, like their characters. I haven't met Majima. I don't, is he in Yakuza 0?
yeah. He is the he is the other protagonist, not second protagonist, other protagonist. So
Oh,
you're
okay.
still very early in the game, but
Uh,
you will get to meet Majima, and when you meet Majima, it is completely different to how like the franchise knows Majima.
ah, yeah, because I think is he the same guy as the one on the cover, the guy with the
Yeah,
eye patch?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. That's
really?
Majima. That's Majima. Yeah,
He looks so composed though, and from I was actually I guess this is a bit of I was spoiling myself a bit, but
yeah,
from your streams, Majima is lunatic.
yeah.
There's no other way to put it.
when when you figure out like that, it goes into depth about that, so I'm not going to spoil anything for you or anyone who may still be playing Yakuza 0 like 4 years later, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, it is wild of like you when you first experience Majima, cuz when I played I was like, this is not the Majima I know by any means. I will say
Yeah.
this, like at times and at times, but it's also really cool. I would say the side story quests and stuff are just as entertaining as the main story.
Oh, 100%. Honestly, there's the one quest I remember was like, it's so funny because like Kazuma is a very Kiryu, I guess,
Yeah,
but
Kiryu. Yeah.
Kiryu is like he's obviously like a very serious and noble guy, but he has to take so much nonsense and do such awkward like bewildering stuff. So like the one that sticks to my mind out the most is like I think he was some guy from high school. His girlfriend was like selling. He thought his girlfriend was selling herself like on the streets and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, I know
You,
exactly
you know
what
what I'm
side
talking about,
story you're
right?
talking about. Yeah. If you want, go ahead and tell it if you want.
Yeah, it's just a side story, so I don't think it matters too
Yeah. No,
much.
no, no. It's not. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
so
too much.
yeah, and so he Kazuma is like he reluctantly accepts and he's like, yeah, fine, I'll go talk to your girlfriend. And he the way he does this is that he tries to like quote unquote solicit the guy's girlfriend. So he's going through the motions and like the girl's saying everything that makes it seem as if though she's like actually selling her body. And then when it comes down to it, she says top or bottom, and then Kazuma's like, huh? She's talking about positions? And I just lost it there. But then she clarifies and she's like, no, I'm talking about, do you want my bra or do you want my panties? And I almost flung out of my bed, honestly. Like, and then Cosmo,
No, I get it. Like,
Kiryu just, Kiryu just could not believe himself because, like, honestly, like, as kind of gross as the whole situation is, the fact that the twist was just so funny and just honestly, and then after that, you find out that the girl isn't doing it because she wants to. She's not trying to earn money. She's being bullied, basically. She's being not blackmailed,
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess,
It
but
it
like,
takes you into this whole other side story.
yeah, and
Like
then you have
that's
to,
what's really cool about some of the side quests. Like it's just that it's like there's this one simple side quest that you think is not going to be hard, and then it
yeah.
takes you into this whole other side quest.
Yeah. And then after you find that out, you actually have to find out the ringleader, who you find out is just like her classmate or whatever.
Yeah.
And and then the classmate, obviously she's blackmailing this girl, so obviously she's not like an easy customer. So you just leave her alone after you try to convince her, and then all of a sudden this 4chan user just comes up to her.
That's
this four
honestly the most accurate way to put it. Like that
this
is
four
truly the most accurate way to put it.
Yeah, this 4chan user just comes up to her, and he's like, "Oh my God, whatever your name is, I love you so much. I've seen you on the street a couple of times, but I think we're meant to be together." And then she rejects, and then he's like, "Huh?" And then he's
Yeah,
like,
like that sound and motion happens so much throughout the game that it's so funny to see though.
"Yeah." But then the wild thing is that after that, he's one of those people. Oh, if I can't have you, nobody can. And he tries to take them both down, like.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then Kiryu has to step in. He beats his ass, and then it's so funny because if I'm not mistaken, the girl tries to hit on Kiryu. I
Yeah,
think,
she
honestly.
like yeah, like in that very moment, it's like she suddenly falls in love with him, and then you're just
Yeah,
like, how did we get here? This
it's
is
so weird.
not.
And then Kiryu, being the kind of person he is, he can't take the hit, and he's like, "What are you talking about? Go home."
Yeah,
Just
no, it's so funny.
it cracks me up so much. I can't wait to get through the rest of it when I'm done with what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so funny when I keep looking at it, and for me, I'm just like, and this isn't still. It's still not even the wildest story in the game. Like there is just so many things out there, and I'm not gonna tell you what some of the stories are. I'm gonna let you experience it for yourself.
Uh-huh.
But Yakuza Zero has some of the greatest sub stories ever. But I love just how wild some of these sub stories get, and then like some of the characters you meet are just so sympathetic and so cool that you're
Yeah.
just like, oh, I want to meet these characters. I was like, I really love these characters. I wish they were part more involved in the main story, but they're not really that involved. And
Yeah.
it's so funny to me. Um, but yeah, no. And then it's interesting too because some side stories will call back to older side stories too later
I
in the
can't.
game.
Yeah, I can't wait for like another side story for there just to be like a callback to Cosmo's face when he realizes he's soliciting a minor for her panties. It's just that's just
And
it's just
it,
so funny.
it's so funny and ridiculous, and at the same time, I feel like it's really interesting. Of like, I almost want to say a cultural difference between the United States and Japan too, and like these weird sleazy things. Like, because I feel like if you saw this on the streets here, immediately like that guy would be taken down by the public.
Oh,
But
100%. Yeah.
over there, it's like I wouldn't say it's such a common occurrence. I guess it's more of like people are so indifferent; they're just not even paying attention to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably just something that happens, but nobody like really cares about it. So they're like, it doesn't involve me, so it's fine,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this like suddenly knowing like how their culture works or anything.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I'm just saying like that's what when I'm playing the game, that's exactly what it feels like. Like just no one cares.
Yeah.
There are some events that happen throughout the game and you just wonder how police have not been involved whatsoever.
Oh, that's another thing. I remember it's funny. I remember walking down the street as a Kiryu,
Yeah.
and randomly some guy just handed me pocket tissues, and I'm like, okay, when am I ever gonna need this? And then an officer stops me, and he's like, hey, I need to check if you have any dangerous weapons. Just give me whatever you have on you. And then you can give the officer pocket tissues to show
Yeah,
that you're
yeah, I
not
know
carrying any
exactly who
weapons.
you're talking about. Yeah. I know
Oh my,
exactly who you're talking about. He's kind of a fan favorite character, but also annoying at the same time.
yeah.
But yeah, he will you can like he's just so funny cuz you don't I don't remember if it's like if you know exactly where he is or you don't know where he is, but he only stops you.
Oh my
And
God.
it's like if he finds you with a weapon and instead of the pocket tissues,
Hmm.
you immediately you are either sent off to jail or get a game over or something. And
A game
you
over?
yeah, like you lose a lot of money on that game over.
Wow. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
if I remember correctly. It's been a bit since I played, so not all the details are there. But I remember you always have to have pocket tissues. So yeah, I'm glad you discovered that naturally.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like I don't know how it is in the other games, but I'm playing on normal mode, and you actually get quite a bit of money, honestly, just from fighting and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah,
That is something early game I would say is very good. I don't it scales differently late game for like
wow,
how for like again not so much of a spoiler or anything. It's like because for some people it just depends on how you spend your money and stuff throughout the game.
uh-huh.
Like some people are very conservative with their money and stockpile it to the very end of the game. Some people just burn it immediately as quick as they get it. And so it's like it just depends on how your playstyle is and how you feel money gets later in the game.
Yeah, I just imagine you naturally got that much money throughout the game because there's like a skill tree in the game for each fighting style.
Yep.
And I noticed that like for the first upgrade, it's only like, like 40,000 yen. So it's like, oh, that's pocket change. And the next one is like 2 million, like in that
Yeah,
same
yeah,
in
no,
that same
it
line.
escalates very quickly, but in terms of the game, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But like it's just the game is so wild and so much fun. Like I just again, you can have hours and hours of content to do. I will never be able to 100% Yakuza 0 as much as I love the game just because again, there is so much to do and then
Yeah.
there's like so many specific things you have to do just to finish all the events and stuff. Like I think for Yakuza 0, I still didn't even finish all the sub stories because some of them are hidden and
Hmm.
others are like random chance happening.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's like but they provide some of them provide really good challenges.
Oh yeah.
So I was just like I'm like okay. Yeah, like it's so much fun for what I do. Really though, just playing the game and like right now going through Kiwami, it's such an interesting experience like playing the game and not being able to do anything.
Not doing
The
anything.
like not being able to do anything that I once was able to do in Yakuza 0.
Oh, does it like
Like the game changes, not to give again any spoilers or anything, but like you kind of get a reset on your character.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then you have to rebuild everything and I'm like, "Crap, I used to be able to do all of this. Now I got to go through this all over again."
Yeah, that's so annoying. It kind of reminds me, you know how like Ash, every time he goes to like a new region,
God, don't get me
like
started on
like
that guy.
yeah, like every time Ash goes to like a new region, or more specifically Pikachu, like he faces like let's say like when he went to like Sinnoh, like he faced like Piplup, who's like a starter, and he like I can't remember, like this is just like conjecture, but like
Yeah, yeah.
he'll face like Piplup, and then he like slightly wins, or he might actually even lose. It's like, dude, like you should be like level 100 at this point, like from the games, like he would be like a level 100, but like in the anime, he's like he just gets nerfed so hard every time he goes to like a new region. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and it's really weird. I remember they actually wrote it out one way in like just going on Pokemon real quick. For the Black and White anime series, they like he got struck by Zekrom's thunder or lightning or whatever they said. I can't remember what they said at the time. And that's why he was unable to use his electrical moves. So like when he goes up against a freshly acquired Snivy, he actually ends up losing. And I'm just like there is no way that Pikachu at this point, who's faced the literal Pokemon gods, should be
Yeah,
this weak.
it's frustrating, man. Just watching Pikachu. They do Pikachu so dirty. Like why not I mean, it's I guess they have to do it because like plot. Like you can't have like constantly carrying around like a level 100, but like it just sucks to watch, man.
I have such mixed feelings about the anime at times because they introduce these great Pokemon and characteristic of Pokemon, but never build upon them at times, or end up freaking releasing them. And I'm like, why? There's
Yes.
no reason for this.
Yeah, I think it was Kalos, the seventh
Yeah,
region,
yeah,
where he literally releases like half of his party. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
yeah.
Like
No,
he,
I know people still have not forgiven the creators for releasing Greninja.
yes, oh my God, like Greninja, like okay. just to go on a bit of a rant, he should have won against Charizard.
Oh
I'm just
yeah,
gonna say
very
that.
much so.
Like I get like Elaine, I think it is his name. Elaine.
Alon,
Yeah,
I think.
Alon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alon. I get that Charizard is like, he's very well trained, but like Greninja literally like has his own like, is it Mega Evolution, right?
No, no,
Mega.
it's his. It's a pseudo ability, or it's his own ability, which
Yeah,
is like fake mega evolution.
yeah, he did. Yeah, Greninja. Just for Greninja, the writers was like, oh yeah, let's give him a like a pseudo like Mega Evolution, and he still loses to Charizard. I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah, it annoyed me so much because they built up this hyped thing of like, oh, only Ash can literally do this.
Yeah,
And then it's like, oh, but guess what? He's still gonna lose anyway. And it's like, why?
yeah,
Why build up all of this and then release him later?
yeah.
Which makes no freaking sense. Like in terms of the story, it was just so frustrating. Like, and I guess they say they justify it because he was too powerful of a Pokemon, but it's like Ash isn't gonna bring him along to the next region anyway.
Or no, like
So
like just send him to Professor Oak's lab like you do with everyone else. Like you're like, come on, like what are you losing by sending him to Professor Oak's lab? Like, come on, dude.
yeah, and I don't
Like,
know, like the I guess what 2 seasons following that? No, because they went from Kalos straight into Alola.
mhm,
The weird thing about Alola is that Ash has two pseudo legendaries.
yeah,
So, or I guess he has a legend. I don't know if it's a legendary or not. Melmetal. I don't know. Someone can correct me in the comments.
yeah,
Um, but he at least keeps him as a Pokemon, and then he has Poiple who evolves. I forget what the name Poiple evolves into, but he has them for a brief moment. Then they come back to fight in the championship, then leave again. And I'm just like, just at least let this guy catch something and like keep it. Like stop releasing his Pokemon.
I know. Like that was my biggest gripe with Carlos, just to go back to it. I think because
Yeah.
like Carlos, I mean, apart from, that, honestly, Carlos was one of my favorite seasons of Pokemon just to watch, like
Oh, the
honestly.
animation was beautiful on it. That's
It,
what I
it was
loved about it.
Yeah, it was a really good season actually, just in terms of like the story and everything. Honestly, apart from like, releasing Pokemon and stuff like that, it was a really good story. And it really did, I think it did a great job of showing like Ash at his lowest moments, honestly, at points. Like I remember specifically, I can't remember if it was before the Pokemon League or if it was before a specific gym, but I think they were like in like a Pokemon Center and then Ash ran away and then like they have like the
Yeah, yeah, I
snowball.
know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was a really good story moment. Like again, to what I've seen in the fandom, they find that a really good moment.
Yeah, and I thought that was so good because like too often like they kind of brush aside the fact that like Ash kind of like he tries to like put everything on himself to like deflect the blame from his Pokemon and stuff like that, but at the same time you're like your Pokemon are in it with you. And I sound
Yeah.
like honestly, but like
No,
that's
no, I get it.
that's the way it is. And I think that was a great thing
Yeah.
that that was a great thing to address, I think.
Yeah. No, it was really good, and like it was definitely, I would say, my second favorite season. My favorite season being Sinnoh,
Mm-hmm.
because Diamond and Pearl and all that, because his rivalry with Paul was the best rivalry ever.
Yeah.
He was the last good rival too.
Yeah, Paul was such a good rival. Like he made you dislike him, but you also understood why he was the way he was. So it was like
Yeah.
that's good character building, I
No, no,
feel.
it was great, and it in a weird way, it kind of felt like the two types of competitive Pokemon players too. You
Yeah,
have
that's
the
true.
ones who like are like down to the data and like have to craft things in a certain way, and then you have the other players who are just like, I want to build my team this way because it's fun and because I like these, and then if I want to train them in a certain way, I will, but I don't always have to. And it was just so good.
Yeah, honestly, like that's a great point to bring up. Like it kind of shows. Sorry, it shows the duality of like how like a Pokemon trainer's career can go. So I concur with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Pokemon as a series, I still love it. I've checked out some of the new anime. I've actually watched it in sub, which is
Wow.
really interesting because I've only ever seen Pokemon in dub.
Same, yeah.
And I will say, in terms of story, it's not. There's not really much of a story.
Mm.
It's just kind of more like callbacks to everything.
Huh.
But in terms of it good as a whole, I would say it's not bad at all. Like like Ash is like he's showing his experience as a trainer
That's good.
in
Yeah.
the this series, and then you have the new trainer who they introduce every season, obviously, but this
Hmm.
time it's a character named Go,
Yeah.
and his job is like he wants to catch every single Pokemon, and he's doing a really good job of it too. And I'm just like, why couldn't we have had this with Ash when he literally
Yeah.
wants to catch all the Pokemon? It's like
Yeah.
this guy in like literally 9 episodes catches almost as many as Ash has with that he caught over 20 years, and I was
Oh
just so
my God.
frustrated about it. And I'm just like, why?
That sucks, man. Honestly, that's like another thing, honestly. I mean, like that kind of ties into like also something sorry. Um like Ash, like I remember in Kalos and Aloha, like he would look like a Pokemon from like the Kanto region, where he was from, and he would pull out the Pokedex, and I was like, "What are you
I
doing?"
have no idea at times,
And,
but
but no, but here's the thing. I remembered. Ash doesn't catch any goddamn Pokemon,
he
so of course he would.
doesn't.
Of course he wouldn't remember what they look like because he doesn't catch them. I'm like, oh my, that was my third break. That was like my third eye awakening moment. Like
Yeah,
that,
no, seriously.
that that's the reason why he doesn't recognize them is because he doesn't catch them and he doesn't have a log of them in the Pokedex.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. And I'm just like, you see Go actually filling out the Pokedex, and I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. And then I think my last gripe was is like usually you see that with the new season, like again, it's not bad, but it's not like the best either. There's no real solid story.
Yeah.
But what you see is like apparently, and I didn't figure this out. You know how he usually leaves all his Pokemon with like Professor Oak and stuff and everything.
Mhm.
Well, this time he left all of his Pokemon from Alola with Professor Kukui.
Oh, nice.
So, like, I was like, at least explain this though, because I saw the ending to Alola and everything. It was like it never mentions this, and it never mentions it at all in the new anime. And the only reason I found out is because like there's an online database of like, hey, where is this person's character?
Oh
Or
my
where's
God.
this person's Pokemon? And it's just like, oh yeah, they got left behind in this region. I'm like, you couldn't explain this?
That's kind of I think that's bad though, because like for like a video game that makes sense if you have like a sort of like a compendium of like information and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like if the game can't like explain to you because of like plot or whatever, or it has to like move along. But like it's the anime. You could like have like a little like cutback or something to like show like, oh yeah, he's at like these Pokemon are at Kukui's lab. That's just kind of bad, honestly, in my
yeah,
opinion.
I don't know. And I don't know, like Pokemon as a whole, again, the anime I both love and hate at the same time. It does not feel the same from the Pokemon when we were growing up, but then again, we were also kids
That's fair,
when
yeah.
we were growing up, so I mean, we could have remembered it a lot more fondly. But I feel like if I went back and watched Diamond and Pearl right now, I would
Yeah.
still very much enjoy Diamond and Pearl, even like regardless of nostalgia. Just the story writing from it was really good.
Oh yeah, no. I remember like being a kid. Like I think Diamond and Pearl came out when I was like 8 or 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, yeah, and I remember just like coming back from like soccer games and watching Diamond and Pearl. That shit was nice. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie. That
Saturday morning Pokemon was some of my favorite things to do. When they would have a
so
new
good.
episode, I would just be up. Like that would be the only reason I would legitimately wake up at like 8 in the morning
Yeah,
to on a Saturday to watch Pokemon.
honestly, man.
So yeah, for me, I don't know. I loved that series, but you know, I feel like I'll give the Pokemon anime right now another chance. Like I haven't caught up on some of the latest episodes. Ash has been catching some great Pokemon though.
Ah,
So I'm just like, he's caught a Dragonite, a Gengar, and now a Riolu. And I'm just like,
wow.
okay, now you're building a competitive team?
Damn. Where was this when I was a kid, Ash? God damn it. Like
No, seriously. Yeah,
that
but yeah, so I'm going to keep watching and see where all of this goes. But it feels really interesting seeing like the other protagonists, or I guess secondary protagonists, feel
Uh,
more of like what new Pokemon players would be like now.
yeah.
So it's been fun to watch that. But yeah, I think we can. I think that's pretty good for today. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think unless you got anything else you want to bring up.
No, nothing else, honestly, to be
All right.
honest.
Yeah, that
Just
seems like a pretty
yeah.
good part to wrap up. Okay, so thank you guys so much for listening. And we're hoping you'll stick around for the next episode. We'll try to get it out when we can, but you know, this is unscheduled. We bring it out when we want to.
Yep, that's how it is.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. I guess to go with the YouTube credo, please like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh man.
And thank you guys again so much for sticking around this long. And we hope to see you guys next time. Have a good one.
See ya.